that you can get your very own Rana Nation t-shirt just in time for spring and summer. Kevin J. Johnston, and I have created the very first Rana Nation t-shirt, which you can get in white, light gray, or dark gray, and you can do it by going down to the comments section of this video and clicking on the link, and you will be redirected to this very page where you can go down and click buy it now and buy your very first Arana Nation t-shirt, which I guarantee you will one day be a prized possession, because yours truly is a very ambitious person who is going to be very well known one day. So please head on down to the link after this video at the comments section, which is pinned at the top of the comments section. Click on the link and buy your very first Arana Nation t-shirt. You will be the sexiest cat on the corner. And with that being said, let's go on to this thing here now. So, for those of you who live in Toronto, or who live in the Toronto area and who use the TTC, Toronto Transit, you'll realize that the TTC has put up these very pathetic, in my opinion, posts on the subway walls and on the buses. And this is all part of a so-called "You Said It" etiquette campaign, where they get Twitter posts and post them up like certain things like, why is it the people who have the worst taste in music are also the ones who don't own headphones, or things like, I didn't realize that people trespass onto the TTC tracks as much as they do over last month. Now, here is the Arana Nation's opinion on the You Said It campaign. First of all, I am all for promoting good manners on public transit. First of all, I hate public transit. You all know that. I don't like it. I think people who are in an ability to get a car should get one immediately, to send a message to these politicians that tell us we need to use public transit to save the environment, to go on a bus. Meanwhile, they have their private jets and their cars and their own personal, freeway, the 407, which is a rich people's highway, in my opinion. And public transit is one of the most miserable places to be on. The bus drivers, not all of them, but a lot of them are rude. They drive past you and all that stuff. And we'll talk about that more in a minute. We'll talk more about public transit and why I brought up the You Said It campaign. But, I've noticed that ever since I started going back on the TTC, these Twitter posts came up, and I said to myself, nobody talks like this on Twitter. I didn't realize that people trespass onto hashtag TTC tracks as much as they do over last month. I mean, folks, the only person who would write that on their Twitter is that guy or girl who sits in the back of the class, the teacher's pet, who wears them big old glasses, who nobody likes, and who is the tattletale of the school. You remember the show, for those of you who are millennials, the show Recess, Disney's Recess? Well, you remember the character Randall? Well, Randall would write things like this on his Twitter page. I mean, this is fruity as hell. I mean, I don't want to say what the word that it really is, but I mean, nobody, and you can obviously tell that whoever wrote this on their Twitter were probably children or relatives of TTC executives who were probably paid to write this crap on their Twitter, or who probably didn't write anything, were just paid to give the TTC permission to put their Twitter picture up there, and the TTC executives would make up words to write. I mean, nobody writes this stuff on their Twitter. I'm just telling you the truth. I mean, nobody. It's the most pathetic way to get people's attention. And you can obviously tell the You Said It campaign is trying to target young people. Well, and I keep saying this, old people or baby boomers should stop trying to connect to young people. They should use young people to connect to young people. And when I say young people, I mean young people who actually know something about the real world. Not the child of some executive. I mean, y'all, people don't talk like this. Any young person who has bad manners on the TTC would look at this and laugh and go on about his business. That's just the honest truth. This is the stupidest thing the TTC has ever done. Well, now a group of people have actually really just trolled this You Said It campaign brilliantly, in my opinion, and have done something which is a work of art. They have made up their own You Said It Twitter posts, and some people would write things like, I wish TTC would stop raising their fares with nothing to show for it. Shoulda hitchhiked. You said it. I mean, brilliant. That is the best way to troll this ancient, monopolistic public transportation. And that's not just the TTC. I mean, the TTC is not the worst monopolized public transit system in Ontario. I think personally Durham Region Transit, where I am, is far worse. Durham Transit is, I mean, don't even get me started. So let's see this news article and see how these group of young people brilliantly trolled the TTC and their useless You Said It campaign. Because it's useless because people on the TTC are ruder than they ever were.
Inside subway stations today has the TTC seeing red, and tonight's City News speaks with those behind it. Now, you might remember the TTC's 2017 You Said It Transit Etiquette campaign. Basically, they're posting people's concerns over rider etiquette inside subways, on streetcars, and on buses. And today, a response to that campaign was posted here inside Dundas Station. You'll see where some posters were removed, and suffice it to say, the TTC isn't impressed.
Who cares if they're impressed?
This is vandalism, pure and simple. There's no two ways about it. We're investigating right now. We've got video. We will do everything in our power to identify those responsible, and we'll issue fines.
Just as we found the posters this morning, a TTC employee was working away, scraping them off the wall. They match the TTC logo and the previous You Said It ad style almost exactly. The posters highlight tweets from riders and the complaints that end up on social media regularly. This poster reads, you can always count on the TTC to shut down and make you late on your first day at a new job.
True.
Said it, please get your bleep together and be on time.
True.
TTC. Today we spoke to one woman who wrote that tweet and was reached out to by a woman asking if they could use it for a project.
I thought it was important because it's nice to see when other people get to voice their opinion on the TTC and put it out there instead of just what the TTC chooses to put out there. Because
amen, sister. Amen, sister. I wish I could find this woman and I would shake her head. I wish she'd have let me. The Iran Nation and this girl should team up and do more of this stuff. I mean, I had nothing to do with this. I'm just saying, in case the TTC comes, we're going to find that Iran Nation fool. But I agree. The TTC is putting up things that they think people say and that they want people to think people say instead of what people actually say. It's true. I mean, seriously, even if you agree that this is vandalism, which I guess it could be, but even if you agree it's vandalism, you have to admit that it's better for the TTC to read what people really think than making up tweets, which it's obviously made up, making up tweets that they think people say about the TTC. Oh, people are crossing the tracks. Who the hell? What are you, a tattletale or something? Are you a snitch? Should I dunk your head in a toilet or something? Stop snitching. I mean, I'm not for people crossing the tracks, but the police will deal with it when they have their cameras. Don't be a snitch.
But the reality is that there's a lot of frustration going on in the riders.
This appears to be a reaction to the 2017 TTC campaign, the You Said It campaign, where you guys pulled people's tweets from riders who were...
They didn't pull anybody's tweets. They made these tweets up. Whoever this is, Anita Bot. I mean, I'm sure that person doesn't even exist. I'm sure, but if it does exist, that's somebody who is a relative of a TTC exec or a child of a TTC exec with a silver spoon in her mouth or his mouth, who, does what daddy and mommy says.
about people's conduct on buses, trains, subways. Some would say, well, this is just a reaction to that.
We encourage people to reach into us if they've got concerns about our service.
No, you don't. You just tell them off and hang up the phone on them and tell them to calm down. Have you ever been told to calm down by a public working customer service rep? It is the most annoying thing you could ever hear. You just will almost, you want to just, anyway, I won't say it.
If they've got a complaint, if they've got any kind of issue with our service at all, we more than welcome that. This is not that. This is vandalism.
The TTC says they're prepared to level fines and are going through surveillance footage to ID those involved.
Oh, please. Did you see the neighborhood that girl lived in? She looks like she has a bunch of rich parents. They'll pay the... Hey, you no one's interested in your toilet paper fine. No, that's peanuts to that girl. She looks like she lives in Rosedale or one of them rich neighborhoods. She'll pay that like peanuts.
After some digging today, City News found those behind the polarizing posters, and they aren't some big riders association or guerrilla marketers.
We're just two art students trying to make a difference, trying to make a change, pushing our ideas, and
Damn right.
we're standing up for it. We're not gonna back
Standing up to the system. I love it.
down.
Ahiko O'Day and Jenny Zhang are second-year OCAD University students. For their art and social change assignment, they say they decided to deliver a message from the people to the TTC.
Damn right.
I've told you that the TTC has said that this could be a fine of up to $235. You're still cool to show your faces and get in front of this.
Yes.
Why do you...
Damn right, my gal is a rebel. Anyway, that's enough for that. And by the way, for anybody who thinks this is a plagiarism, this is all thanks to the great people at City News. I do not own this video. I am simply using it. But amen to those sisters, my gals. They are thug lives. I love them. And thank you for standing up to the public transportation system. I mean, my thing, I've always said that we can have the public transit, but I think private entrepreneurs should also be allowed to compete with the public transit so that these public transit companies should be held accountable. They can't keep raising their prices with nothing to show for it, hiring people who are extremely nasty, who hate their job, and no control of the system. I mean, it's just complete foolishness. So thank you for standing up to the system and trolling the system. This is the Arana Nation. Get your Arana Nation t-shirt by going down to the comment section and clicking on the pinned link and buy your very first Arana Nation t-shirt.